to another episode of Soft Signal. My name is Varun and I'm joined by Aditya.
Hello, welcome again.
Yeah, bit of a sad day for not a bit of a sad day, a pretty sad couple of days for cricket. With the first of all the passing away of Rod Marsh, one of Australia's greatest ever wicket keepers, and then yesterday the shocking news actually of the death of Shane Warne, arguably the greatest leg spinner, maybe the greatest spinner of all time, unexpectedly passing away at the age of 52, which we'll get to later on this in this episode for sure. We just wanted to start off with just recapping a couple of matches that are going on, including one that we previewed last week. So Pakistan versus Australia. So I think Pakistan scored about 460 and just managed to bowl just one over at Australia. So after day two, Pakistan looking like they're in the driver's seat, but the pitch was also very good to bat on.
Yeah, I mean, 460 in the first innings, that's already a massive score. And if you bat first and score those many runs, you are in the driver's seat. But of course, let's wait and watch how Australia respond, because you need to wait to see both teams bat in order to judge how good or bad the pitch is. Just the thing is that in subcontinental conditions, the pitches start deteriorating really quickly. So a pitch that is really good on day two could turn into a really difficult batting wicket on day three. And that's why, given that Pakistan scored 460 in the first innings, they clearly hold an advantage. So I think Australia will have to bat really, really well in their first innings in order to avoid defeat. And Pakistan clearly in the driver's seat thanks to two brilliant centuries by Imam and Azhar Ali.
Yeah, Azhar Ali just continues to do it at the age of, I think he's 37 now.
Yes.
One of, I think, a very underrated batsman for Pakistan, at least in this decade, not this decade, the previous decade, and this one. And yeah, Imam Hula getting his first century. Australia really looked short of ideas. They went in with just Lyon as a spinner, and they had Travis Head bowling after the first hour, which showed that they had some selection issues. Because even Pakistan, despite all their fast bowling prowess, picked two spinners and only two fast bowlers. So definitely Australia misread the pitch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in subcontinental conditions, you need to have two spinners. I think overseas teams kind of tend to make this mistake of saying that let's pick our best bowlers, and their best bowlers generally tend to be three fast bowlers and one spinner. But the thing is that your best bowlers can come up short when the conditions do not favor you. So if England comes to India and says we'll pick James Anderson and he'll start swinging the ball from the beginning right till the end of the day, that's not going to happen. Right? So I think that's where overseas teams kind of make a mistake in terms of selection when they come to the subcontinent, and we are seeing it again. Sure, but Australia really should have played two spinners. I've not looked down their squad. I don't know who else is the lead spinner, but if they have one in their squad, apart from Nathan Lyon, they should have played him.
Yeah, they have Ashton Agar, they have Swepsons, they've taken a couple of spinners. I think maybe they just got confused by the pitch or who knows what exactly happened. But anyway, let's see. Interesting test match in store for sure. And then moving over to Mohali, just a few hundred miles away from the Pakistan border. India playing Sri Lanka, and more importantly, Virat Kohli's 100th Test match. Definite great milestone for him. But unfortunately, he couldn't get his 100 in his 100th Test match yet. The second innings might still result in that. But yeah, India piled on the runs, close to 600, and Ravinder Jadeja stopped scoring with 175 not out. Another instance of Rahul Dravid, this time as a coach, being part of a declared innings without the person getting to a 200.
Yes, that's a good point you make. But I think uh, I think uh, it's pretty obvious that they probably told him that, look, there are so many overs, X number of overs that you need to bat, that we need to bat for, and if you can get your 200 in that, then good. If not, then sorry. So it's a bold declaration. Also, I think the team does believe that it's more about, the team as opposed to the individuals. If he was maybe on 190, it could have been a different
or
story, but
194.
or 194, it might have been a different story. You cannot say for sure, but I think 175 still is in a test match is probably a good 6 to 7 overs. It would have taken him a good 6 overs, I would say, to actually reach there, even if he scored boundaries quickly. So I think a superb innings from Jadeja, though. He now holds the record for the highest individual score by an Indian at number 7.
Oh,
So that's great for Jadeja. I was also looking through his stats, and I saw that he averages 35 with the bat and 25 with the ball in Test cricket, which is phenomenal. I mean,
yeah.
this guy is a genuine all rounder. I think we sometimes make the mistake of considering only fast bowlers as genuine all rounders. So when we think all rounders, we think Andrew Flintoff and guys like Kapil Dev, Imran Khan, Ian Botham from the previous generation. Somehow we don't consider spinners as very good all rounders. I think it's just a mentality. It's just that we're not used to seeing so many spinners being quality all rounders. But here is one with a batting average of 35 and a bowling average of 25. I think he's a great all rounder. He's a much improved player over the last 5 6 years or so. So of course that's kudos to him. But superb knock coming from Jadeja, and India clearly in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Sri Lanka like 4 down already, 100, not more than 100 on the board. So yeah, it seems unlikely that they'll avoid the follow on, and then we'll see if it's enforced at all. But and of course, can't forget Rishabh Pant, another like whirlwind innings. This acceleration after 50 was pretty something special to watch. Unfortunately, he got out in the 90s again, and I think he's got out about 5 or 6 times now in the 90s, and he's got he could have had 10 Test centuries by now already.
Yeah, but just a word on his knock first. You're right. I mean, his acceleration after he scored 50 was amazing. So he started his innings being careful and circumspect, and then slowly built on it, which is what responsible Test match batting is all about. You play the situation, you get your eye in, and then after that, you can make it count, and that's what he did. You're right. Unfortunate that he got out just short of three figures. Seems to be happening often, but of course, you could argue that it's nerves, but somehow when I look at Rishabh Pant, I don't think he's got nerves as such, or at least he doesn't develop so much anxiety that would actually prevent him from crossing the 90s into the hundreds. So I think it's just a case of him being a little unlucky at the moment. I'm sure there'll be times in his career when he really looks scratchy in the 90s, but still goes on to get 100. So good knock by Rishabh Pant. I think he is by far India's number one wicketkeeper batsman now. And with him batting like this at number 6, it only augurs well for the future of Indian cricket. Hopefully, of course, he does it more often overseas.
Yeah, and like his centuries have also come in Australia and England, so he's it's great to have a keeper with that. Like I know we had Dhoni, but he was not so great overseas, and so it's really exciting times. At just the age of 24, at least 10 more years of this will be amazing to watch. Yeah, let's move on to what we thought was the main topic of the day, and yeah, it is going to be a bit sad, reflective. Also, try to bring in some happy memories, some good memories of Shane Warne. As you said at the start of the show, passed away yesterday in Thailand, where he was on holiday of a sudden heart attack. At least that's what's been reported at the moment. Yeah, initial news, I think, just like me, you were also shocked, right? Like, can't believe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I thought it was fake news for the first few minutes when I got a notification on my phone, and I was like, okay, this is just fake news. Someone's playing the fool. And then obviously I googled it and I saw that it's not fake news. And of course, it was shocking. It's shocking because we've grown up seeing him bowl. He's a legend of the game. He's probably he's definitely the greatest leg spinner ever. He's revolutionized the art of leg spin. Revived it in a way, and he's probably one of the greatest bowlers ever. So, uh, and of course, he's even a commentator. So he's kind of in our memory. Like, when you think about Shane Warne, there's a lot of recent moments that are associated with him. So it was really shocking to me when I saw all the articles confirming his death. It was really unfortunate.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of points I'd just like to make about, like, which I was just been thinking about it quite often since yesterday. That when you, as a child, when you watch someone and you idolize someone, and then when you realize that they've passed away, first of all, it gives you this a glimpse into your own mortality, that you think, oh gosh, people who were not that old when I've seen them, and now they're passing away. Even though 52 is a very young age to pass away, but still you feel, oh yeah, it feels more real. Death just feels more real. And Shane Warne, especially, like you said, he was a cricketer, of course, one of the best cricketers ever, but also just such a larger than life personality, right? Like he seemed so full of life, even for right reasons, wrong reasons, whatever. Was you can't imagine people like that dying, right? Because you seem they're so full of life. How can they just stop existing one day?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, for all practical purposes, he was probably the showman of cricket. I mean, you think of the cricketers of that generation. I think he was the only one who had that kind of, the showman tag around him. Of course, we had great players in that generation like Sachin, etc. But these guys were not showmen. I think that title belonged to Shane Warne. Um, and I think apart from that, he was a fabulous bowler. I mean, he was a master of his skill. Uh, we've never seen a leg spinner that good. He had all the tricks. He could bowl anything he wanted. He could bowl on any surface against any opposition. He could get anybody out, and he also was a smart bowler. Right? It's not just physical, coming in and bowling at the same spot. He actually bowled to situations. He was able to get into batsmen's minds, and I don't think a lot of bowlers have that ability. So I think Shane Warne was really smart in the way he played cricket, and of course, it's amazing when you watched him bowl. There was this anticipation that he would come up with something brilliant, and that itself probably shows or talks about how great he was as a bowler.
Yeah, that whole anticipation, that whole slow walk up, and then that final release of the ball. I think as kids, I at least have tried to imitate that action a few times. Of course, with no level of success, but at least we tried. I think there were all these actions we used to imitate, right, as kids. Wasim Akram, Shane Warne, just a couple that I think of right now. But yeah, I think there was this whole theater around every ball almost that he bowled. Um, and yeah, it's like you mentioned a couple of the greats like Sachin, Lara, even Callis. Like these, the they were greats on their own, but their battles with Shane Warne, I think, were with Warne would just elevated the whole their greatness as well, right? I think they made each other great.
Yes, exactly. They complemented each other. I mean, it's a known fact that when you're facing tough opposition, it brings out the best in you, and that is what Shane Warne did. He brought out the best in the guys like Sachin and Lara and Callis, etc., like guys that you named, and that's because he was so good himself. Um, of course, numerous battles, numerous moments come to mind. Of course, Shane Warne was never able to dominate Sachin so much. You would say that Sachin won most of the battles, but just the anticipation of Sachin versus Warne was so thrilling to watch. Even in the IPL, after both of them had retired from the international game, or Sachin probably was in his last year or so, Warne had already retired. Just the anticipation of watching Mumbai Indians and Rajasthan Royals play in the IPL was all down to the fact that there was going to be this battle between Warne and Sachin. So such was the aura of the guy. Such was the kind of interest he brought to the game. And then, I would just like to speak about the most recent memory. One of the most recent memories that I have of him during his playing days is the 2005 Ashes. I mean, what an incredible performance that was by him. I think he almost single-handedly got Australia to the brink. Remember, that was a series when Australia's batsmen were under pressure most of the time. Glenn McGrath was injured for a few Test matches, and really Shane Warne on his own was sort of keeping Australia in the game in that Test match series. So I think he got something like 40 wickets in that series, which is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing because that's an average of 8 wickets per match across 5 Test matches. 8 wickets per match. That's, and we even break it down further. That's an average of 4 wickets every innings. Now that
In
is
England.
those numbers
Yeah,
in
for a
England.
spinner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those numbers are colossal. I mean, in England, for a leg spinner to pick up 4 wickets on average in each innings is just incredible. And the thing is, it was not just once. He did those kind of things over and over again across his career, and he ended up with 708 wickets. So absolutely amazing, amazing bowler.
Yeah, first man to 700 test wickets. Of course, that was overtaken by Murli later, but um, he had the record for a while. And even that 2006 Ashes, which turned out to be his last series, that Adelaide Test where Australia made that amazing comeback on the last day, that was primarily down to him. He started it, and like
Yeah.
England were leading by 70 runs with 9 wickets in hand going into the last day. No one would have thought of a result, but I think with him in the team also helped the whole team believe that this is possible. That was just
Exactly, it was just his personality was a bit of a maverick. He had this ability to sort of galvanize his teammates, and sort of bring everybody together, and help the team win. Which brings me to another point. He was probably the best captain that Australia never had. Um, of course, a lot of it down to his off-field theatrics, because the position of cricket captain of Australia is a big deal. It's a very responsible and coveted position, and it's not easy to be there. So I think he would have been captain if it was not for his off-field controversies. But we did see glimpses of his captaincy in the IPL with Rajasthan Royals, where he took them to victory in the first IPL, and served as a great mentor to the likes of Ravindra Jadeja, who we just spoke about a while ago. So
yeah.
he was a great captain as well. I mean, a skillful captain as well.
Yeah, can't forget the IPL, and because that was the first season, and the first season, like it was still a new league, right? A lot of people had reservations about it. They had a lot of stars, foreign stars who came to play, but Shane, like he actually seemed like the one who was like super interested in the league. He was obviously the biggest star in that team, but he always let the others take the limelight. Ravindra Jadeja, Yusuf Pathan, even Shane Watson at that point was not that established in international cricket, and that IPL actually helped him get more recognition. And yeah, it's like with a team of that was a terrible Rajasthan Royals team. Like I mean, at least on paper, like compared to the other teams. But yeah, they came from nowhere and won that IPL, which was just all down to him and his captaincy. Um, we'll talk about two, at least of his the most memorable deliveries he's bowled. Like I know a lot of people talk about that 93 ball to Gatting, which was of course amazing to watch, but we were, I mean, I didn't watch it live. I was only four, and so don't have some that those memories associated with that ball. But I think the two are one is from Test cricket and one is from One Day cricket. The first one is to the ball to Strauss in the 2005 Ashes, where it just pitched outside off, and then just that turn was amazing. Like Strauss couldn't even didn't know what had happened, and the second ball is the ball to Gibbs in the 99 World Cup semi-final, which, and we didn't mention this when we were talking about memorable matches, but that was also that semi-final and final performance. The 99 World Cup, like he turned it around, especially in the semis. Like the target was not that much, and he got those first three wickets. I think Kirsten, Gibbs, and Cronier, and yeah, just leveled the game immediately. He was just, and you see those videos. He was just so pumped up during that match.
Yeah, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll have to fact check this, but I think he came back later on in the innings and even got Callis out, and Callis was kind of anchoring that innings. So I'm not sure, but I think he did that. We can check it. But yeah, I remember that delivery to Strauss as well. I think Strauss was as dumbfounded as most of the viewers were. He couldn't believe that the ball had pitched that far outside off stump and spun and hit the leg stump. It was incredible, and yeah, it's amazing. And even some of his battles with Ian Bell, I spoke about how he got inside batsmen's heads. I don't think anybody else did it as well as him.
Yeah,
So his battles with Ian Bell, I mean, even if he wasn't bowling well, it's just that Bell was probably intimidated already and he stood no chance. Daryl Cullinan as well. Before that, it's kind of sad, and of course we shouldn't make fun of it. But Cullinan had to even visit a psychiatrist at some stage in order to prepare himself for South Africa's tour of Australia. So yeah, I mean, he got into batsmen's heads. He was just so good. He had this ability to create something out of nothing. And he speaks about it even in his interviews, right? Where he says that at times nothing was happening off the pitch. It was a responsive, docile pitch. And he realized that. And so he would sort of bowl and then just sort of stand there, oohs and ahs, and just pretend as if something has happened when actually nothing was happening. But then that messed with the batsmen's heads. They thought that, oh, he just beat me, or something happened there, and so they would um, they would sort of not be so well prepared for the next delivery. So that's the ability of the man. It's not just about the skill, but also the mindset and his ability to sort of get into the batsman's mind and use that to his advantage.
yeah. Mind games. The whole Australian team that was like famous for their mind games. I think he was definitely a part of that. There's a video again of, and these apologies to the viewers. These memories might not be all in a particular structure. I think we're just speaking about things as they come to mind. But there's this video where he's playing a Big Bash game and he's bowling to McCullum and he's on the mic with the commentators and he actually tells them how he's going to bowl, how he's going to get him out, and that actually happens. It's just an
Yeah.
insane video to watch.
Yeah, I remember that one. It's amazing. It really is amazing. I mean, superb player and superb, advocate of the game. He loved Test cricket. He brought out the best in himself when it came to Test cricket. I mean, amazing. Just the battles he's had with the other legends of the game. Uh, Amazing. And it's too soon, as they say.
Yeah, well, thankfully we live in an era of YouTube and various other social media channels. So what we can definitely say is that his memories will live on forever, even though he may not be there any longer with us. But at least we can always watch his old matches, his old deliveries, and yeah, just I guess it's just the somewhat positive way of looking at things.
Yep, yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I think on that note, perhaps we could end this week's episode. Yeah, been a sad week, but hopefully there are, as I said, everything has to come to an end. And but yeah, hopefully there are better things. Some can bring you some more positive news next week. And yeah, the two test matches going on. There's a test match starting on Friday. Not Friday, today Saturday. I just lost track of days. I think it's on Tuesday. England, West Indies as well. So there's a lot of cricket ahead, and we'll be sure to cover some of that in next week's episode.
Yep, take care, and uh, hopefully everyone can look forward to India beating Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Thanks for watching. Bye.